All right, so we're just gonna jump right into it for the second part of this board game. Now we have to do all of the cards. Can't have a board game without cards. So I'm going to start off with the personality cards, which have the most detail out of all of the cards I'm gonna create. So I measured it. It took a long time to get like the perfect template. But once I found something that worked, I measured it, made sure that they were as similar as possible, and then I used my template to trace over my cardstock paper. Then I just repeated this step. Now, some of you guys may be thinking like, wow, these are some pretty thick cards. Yes, that was the point. I wanted them to be big, to kind of fit like big in your hands because blobs are big and round, so I wanted these cards to be big and round. So once I had my shape done, my template done, everything done, I started cutting the cards and rounding the edges. I had to repeat this for all of the cards. At this point in recording this voiceover, I'm still unsure about how many cards total I'm going to have at the end. But yeah, so now we're going to jump into the personality card, and we're starting off with Barry, the bee blob. So I used stamps, and I was like, I could write out all of this stuff, but I thought it would be cuter to add the stamps to kind of keep that sameness throughout all of the cards. So for each card, I wrote personality card in a certain stamp, and then I wrote the blob's name in a different stamp that I had. And then I just decorated the cards and wrote out their perks and downfalls when playing the game. I prepped out all of the cards, and then I just went through my list, went through my planning, and made sure that I had the right thing before I wrote it down on the card. I decorated each card to match the personality of the blob, and then on the back of the card, I drew the blob itself. It was kind of nice to get a little break from stamping because the stamping was such a pain in the butt to get that big word personality across the top. Don't worry, I fixed those eyes. I just wanted to point that out before I continued. Those eyes were creepy on Lou. Don't worry, I fixed it. But I did the first three, and now moving on to the last three, which I love these cards. They are the ones with the most detail, as I mentioned earlier. But I just loved this. I had so much fun drawing them. They are so cute. Oh, look at Archie. I love Archie. He is my favorite blob. Besides Chet. Of course, Chet is my first favorite and Archie is my second. But we don't hate on Archie because Archie is so cute. But anyway, so I drew out all the blobs on the back just to kind of be like, oh, I'm going to play this game. Which one's Chet? The Baker blob? I don't know. It's just to have like some consistency with the cards, and I think it would make a lot more sense if I just, drew the blob on the back of the card. So I'm finishing up here on these personality cards, and here are the last three. I am in love with all of them. I love the detail, as I've said one too many times. And actually, fun fact about the name Archie, you see the I, that was actually an exclamation point stamp that I mistaked for an I. That's how tired I was. But I thought it looked cute, so I just kind of kept that consistency with the other name that had an I in it. But honestly, this was like kind of like fun and annoying, picking out the stamps for the cards, just because it was just crazy. But these cards, these were pretty simple and straightforward. They just took a little bit of time because I had to stamp each individual letter onto the card. But once I got that, I was good to go. I did one card first to kind of come up with a design idea real quick and kind of put my idea to the test, and then once I did all of that, I did multiple cards at once. I wanted to make these super detailed, and I love the way these came out. I did 10 of these cards, so now I'm just going to continue doing these cards, move 2 squares forward, move 4 squares forward, and move 6 squares forward, repeating the same step, doing the stamping, doing the mapping, using my stencils, and all that fun stuff. There were many times where I messed up with the stamping, and there was a point where it got frustrating. If I did it like one letter off, just one letter, the whole thing, the whole card would have to be redone. As you saw me a few seconds ago cutting more cards, I had actually planned out the exact number of cards that I needed to do this step, but I kept messing up, so I had to cut more cards. And then I used a Posca pen to kind of, make those little corrections for those stamps that I didn't want. But I love these cards, move 4 squares forward. I love all the different shades of green. It's just, mwah, chef's kiss. Because each card is handmade by me, of course each card is going to be unique, but that's why it was important to me to do this stencil, because even though each card is unique in itself, they all, look the same. Like, you can tell that all of these cards are the same, but they're unique. So that's why the stencil was important. Gotta use my favorite word, love the sameness. These cards were so fun the way they came out, because I actually had an ink pad with 6 different colors that I add that little ink pad by dabbing my sponge into the ink and then dabbing it on the corners, and it just adds something else. I don't know, I just love it. It looks so cool. So these are all the cards. Move 2 squares forward, move 4 squares forward, and move 6 squares forward. Now I'm going to be moving on to the more in-depth cards, but with these cards, it's going to be, it's like what drives the game. Like, you either move forward or you move back with these cards, and the Rainbow Bridge Pass is special, the Thunderstorm, Hurricane, Tornado cards are special. It all depends on how you're playing the game and what blob you have, because we can't forget about their special traits. But this rare move 8 squares forward card, I had so much trouble figuring out how I wanted to do it. And with the stamps, it's kind of a pain in the ass, because I couldn't figure out how to fit all of those letters in and still wanting to get my border in there. I was so adamant about having this pink border, but in the end I just realized that it wouldn't work. So I had to discard that and come up with a new idea. So I added these lines, squiggles, and zigzags with rare move on top, and I love the way that that looks. I did rare move first and then I added my border, because I didn't want rare move to be on top of the border that was on the top left and on the bottom right, because I wanted the rare move text to stand out. So that's what I did here. I ended up doing the card like this, adding some gold stars, just because, gold is special and this is a special card. Now I'm moving on to the next card. This card was a huge pain for me. I hated it. Spontaneous is a huge word. As you can see, I'm already messed up on the first one. So I'm trying to see if I could fit spontaneous in there, and I did manage to do it, guys. And after completing all of the cards, spontaneous die roll, I realized that it probably should have been spontaneous dice roll, but it was too late, and I really did not feel like redoing all 8 of those cards, because no thanks. But I have this special stamp. I love this stamp with all my heart, because I get to put any text I want and have it be a stamp. So I wrote out the text that I wanted backwards on my sketchbook, and here it is. Roll the dice to see how many squares you. Now you're like, how many squares you what? I couldn't fit move backwards because that was too big. And of course my first stamp looks like that, but don't worry, I fixed it. I was so irritated at this point, because I already had such a hassle trying to fit the word spontaneous in. I was like so freaking over it. That one looks good. I was like, okay, that's fine. But as you can see, I kind of faked it here a little bit, but you do what you gotta do, okay? Because at this point, I was going crazy, okay? I set up a half sheet here of practice, roll the dice. I took my stamp and added move backwards. Oh, move forwards. Sorry, we're doing forward first. Move forward, and I just wanted to practice how I would place the stamper to where it would look even. Now, even though I practiced, of course, that didn't matter, because I still ended up messing up. So yeah, that was fun. Yep, there we go. There's that. It's crooked and off-centered. Perfect. I am honestly very OCD when it comes to stuff like this, so this drove me crazy. So I thought, ooh, purple. what if I add a purple little border around it, and then it'll kind of distract you from the fact that it's crooked and uneven. So I did that, and I was happy with that. I think that looked good. Oh, boom, they're done. Okay, good job filming, Jamie, Jesus. Anyway, I added the ink blotch around the corners, and then I added dice for each move forward and move backward. The dice looks different. They all look the same on the forward, and they all look the same on the backwards. I don't know if you know what that means. Oh yeah, this is when I had Thor on my lap. It was thunderstorming really loud outside, and he was really scared, and he wanted to be on my lap. What a big baby. He's so precious. Look at him. Oh, squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. My little man. All right, back to designing and stamping and redoing the same thing over again. Let's get into it. So I had to grab all the letters that I needed for my stamp. I can't remember which one I started off with. I think I started off with Hurricane. Oh no, the Rainbow Bridge, duh. Rainbow Bridge Pass. Oh my gosh. I have to add the Rainbow Bridge on my board. I just realized that. Jesus. Okay, anyway. Oh, boom, it's done. I wanted to add something special to this Rainbow Bridge Pass because there's only 2 of these cards. So I wanted to add a fun Mod Podge glossy glitter coat on top. Can't really tell, but I know it's there, so that makes it extra special. Now we're going to start with the thunderstorm cards. So I have thunderstorm, hurricane, and tornado. I did 4 of each of those cards. I did mess up a few times on these because they are difficult to do, so bear with me. Here is my tornado blob. I love him. He's so cute. He's getting torn away in the tornado. But I'm planning out my tornado, route here, I don't know, and just kind of going wild with it. I grabbed my colored pencil and boom, swirly, swirly, swirl. We're on the roll. We're doing it. I don't know. Looks kind of crazy and messy at this point. I was kind of a little nervous, but it came together around this point, so I was okay with it. Once my tornado shape was complete, I started sketching my blob. I wanted to do a cute little purple blob because I kind of thought, purple's kind of dark, tornadoes are dark, they sweep things away, blob is getting swept away, I don't know, it just kind of all, worked together. So here I am coloring the blob, and now it's time for these darn stamps again. I'm going to be stamping the word tornado. Now, unlike the other cards, I purposely wanted tornado, the word, to be a little crazy and funky. So that's what I did, and I love the way this card came out so much. And I ended up changing it to 3 because I realized that if I did 4, the off chance of someone getting 4 of those cards, this game would literally never end. I did Thunderstorm. Hopefully you can't tell that I messed that up. When I stamped Storm, I missed the T, so I had to white that whole part out and fit it in there somehow. I was literally going crazy, okay? I was so tired. Now I'm doing the Hurricane card. Hurricane is just like a really strong windstorm. So I just did a tree kind of blowing over with a little blob at the bottom with his hair going wild. This is my beautiful Hurricane card. I love all of my storm cards. I really do think that ink corner adds so much. Now we're gonna jump into the board. Oh my God, the board looks so bare because I'm editing this right now, doing a voiceover, of course. The board is done at this point, almost, but that's crazy. So when I was doing this, I had 42 squares on the actual board, but on my original sketch, I had 46, so I kind of had to cross some things out, as you can see in my design on the top left, and then plan it out accordingly. Now I'm blocking in the colors. It's pretty self-explanatory here. I'm just blocking in the colors, prepping everything, getting everything ready for the detail. So now all of my colors are blocked in. Now I just have to do the oops, looks like you're now running late square, confetti square, and dessert square. So I'm just blocking those colors in as well. Everything was blocked in off camera. I did a second and maybe even third coat of all of the squares, and now I'm doing my outline. So I wanted the little blob characters that I'm going to be ending up coloring in the next video to stand out even more. So I did a dark gray border instead of black. Didn't want it to be too boom boom pow. I just kind of wanted it to be there. That way you could see it. Yay, we're using Moriah's paint. I'm so excited. We are going to do the confetti square first. At first I wanted to do kind of like sprinkle confetti, but then I didn't want it to, be too like distracting from the sprinkles that I'm going to be putting around the board. So I just did little colorful dots, and that works too. Now I'm using this navy blue color for the oops, looks like you're now running late square. This square, I had not painted words in such a long time. It looks kind of messy. I mean, it looks fine. I'm okay with it. It came out how it came out. I mean, I don't know. But I'm doing these now. The dessert squares, they took a lot of time. We're going to get into that in a minute though. I'm using just these 4 colors. I didn't want to use rainbow. I had to do this off camera because it really needed my full attention and my eye literally an inch away from the board to make it look perfect. Now we're getting into the dessert squares. Now I'm pointing them out because the dessert square color is very, very similar to the pastel yellow color that's on the board. They are like a shade off. But I'm going into my planning book and I'm planning out all of the desserts. I know the names of the desserts and I know what I want them to be shaped as, but now I'm going to kind of put it in concrete form, putting it in my journal, and then going back over it and adding some color just to kind of plan out how I want it to look on the board, so that when I'm painting I don't have to do much thinking. I just have to copy my original idea. So I'm just going to color these in. It's super rough, very rough, just kind of getting a plain idea of what I want to do on the board. Now, when I started painting these guys, they are so tiny. I wanted to add as much detail as I possibly could, and just, oh my gosh, you guys, just wait until you see it. So first I did a sketch, then I am starting off with the strawberry milkshake. I really globbed that paint on there because I wanted to add this color, because you know how like when a strawberry is like in a milkshake or a smoothie, like it has these like different shades within it because of the strawberry, because you have like the strawberry and then you have the milk. I don't know, I'm talking too much. But I'm just planning everything out, adding some gray, adding some dimension, and these desserts came out so freaking precious. Just watch. Hey, did you miss me? I'm back. I'm back with my voice. Now I'm gonna do the outline. I tried to record it this way, but then I was like, oh wait, I like my eye an inch away from the board as I'm doing this. So I tried a different filming way and it did work, but I was kind of messing up a little bit because the camera was in the way. So I apologize, but I had to do this part off camera just to make sure it was as perfect as I could humanly make it. So I did the thinnest black outline. I swear this is the world record for the thinnest black outline. It's amazing. For an extra cute touch, I decided to add the name of the dessert on the square. I actually love the handwriting of it. It looks so cool. So this is all of the dessert. I am so excited. They look beautiful. I added some little yellow dots to kind of fill in that empty space because the words didn't fill up all of the empty space. But that is it for this video. For the next part, I'm going to be finishing up the board and finishing up the entire board game. So I can't wait to see you there. And I'm also very excited to share with you my very special announcement. So stay tuned.